So turn my ringer off, and we'll call the meeting of the First Nations Relations Committee for Wednesday, April 28th, 2021, call to order. And we have a quorum. So adoption of the public agenda.
Move adoption.
Thank you. Second. Thank you.
Second.
Anyone opposed? Well, carried. The adoption of the previous minutes, or previous meeting minutes.
Move adoption.
Thank you. Second, Claire?
Yes, second.
Okay, discussion on the minutes. Or sorry, I guess we should have, yeah, well, any discussion? Hearing none, carried. Business arising. Any business from you two?
I wasn't there. That's why I couldn't move the minutes. So
Okay.
No questions for me.
I have one, and through to staff, we had made a motion or passed a motion to have the board deal with the lack of representation of electoral area directors on the First Nations Relations Committee, which is part of our terms of reference and mandate that there be one. And maybe can staff give us an update of where that is? And I'm sorry, I'm not prepared for the 12:30 meeting yet, but is that resolution for the board to deal with that on there?
No, I don't think so, but myself and Tom, do you have the terms of reference available or handy?
I don't currently. I'm just looking at the minutes and the motion that the chair is referring to, stating that the board addressed the absence of electoral area representation on the First Nations Relations Committee. I don't know that this has gone to the board yet.
No, it hasn't.
Okay. I do recall, though, looking at the terms of reference with Tom, and it doesn't specifically say that an EA director must be on the committee. There was, yeah.
Oh, so Martin Davis, I just got a note from him. He's in the meeting but doesn't have a webcam present. So
yeah, apologies for that. Just some technical issues at this end.
okay.
I see Kevin's on as well.
So, Mr. Chair, just if I may, just a historical note. I do recall that at one time or another, both Director Anderson and Director Abram have been on the First Nations Committee, I believe, in previous times.
Yeah. Who just came on and said good morning?
Kevin.
Okay. I couldn't see who it's from. The reason that I ask is at the last meeting when I got a little upset with certain individuals on the board, both of which were electoral area directors. If we dealt with this one, especially at the board level, I think we could have avoided some of the issues at the last meeting. And I think it's important, especially when we start working on the process for dealing with various things that come up, whether it's under treaty or under just building relationships. I think it's important that we do have one on there. And I would like to go see if we can't talk Director Wally into representing the EAs.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know in the past he has not accepted an appointment on there.
The reason that I suggest Director Wally is there's a number of issues in Weewakai and Weewakam that are coming up that are inside his area coverage and outside the city of Campbell River.
Sure.
Director.
I think, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I just wanted.
Go ahead, Claire.
Wasn't sure if you saw that my hand was up. Don't disagree with Director Cornfield that it might be worthwhile looking at the terms of reference to ensure that there is an electoral area director representation on the committee, because I think the perspective could be a little bit different than the municipal director. So I think it might be important, but I guess the first step would be changing the terms of reference if this committee thinks that is an important representation. I don't know if that discussion was had last meeting because I wasn't there, so I'm sorry. But I guess that would be the first step.
It was 2 meetings ago that we made the motion, I believe, or that we had the discussion, and it is in the terms of reference.
I thought I heard Tom say that it's not.
Well,
no, that's David. Not
so
Tom.
My interpretation is that the chair has made the appointments and they are in line with the terms of reference. Now, those appointments don't include an EA director. The terms of reference don't say they must. I'm not saying they shouldn't, but what I'm going to say is I believe the appointments were made in line with the terms of reference. Now, if the committee wants to make a recommendation to change those.
No, it's not. I don't think there's a need to change it. I think the terms of reference said that it should be made up of electoral area representatives and things. It doesn't say it has to have that electoral area. That's why we referred it back to the board to deal with representation on the by EA on the First Nations Committee.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wanted to, so I think what I want to make sure what doesn't happen is that we make recommendations to the board and then we lose sight of those. So maybe a tracking or management report now that we have a coordinator position, so that we can have like a tracking of the resolutions, the recommendations that the committee makes, so we can keep track of our progress. Is that a fair enough request, Dave?
Yeah. I mean, I think Tom and his team do a pretty good job of that, but I think it's easily managed by Tina and Renee.
Yeah, no, and it's just so that we can see what we've done. Then when it comes time to putting together an annual report at year end, it's pretty much there, right? Yeah. If we were to develop a simple spreadsheet that says there's a resolution, the date, there's the disposition, it's completed, boom, right? Yeah. Anyway, that was both business arising and chair's report. So moving on, do we need a motion just to accept my verbal stuff on them?
You don't need that, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. So First Nations Relations Coordinator shared resource request.
I'll move receipt of the Chief Administrator Officer's report.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion?
So, Mr. Chair, if I may, so I had a call from Russell Dyson at the CVRD. He found out that we had hired Tina and was quite excited, and I had a chat with him, and he was hoping, and he's quite liberal to any options that we have, and I thought I would just float it out to the committee after ensuring that we had the capacity and it was within Tina's job description to assist with kind of getting a solid waste message out in our First Nations relations communications there. So I'm not exactly sure how it would roll out. It's not like they want to second Tina for a couple days a week, but I think what their intent was to provide some education to Tina on the solid waste issues, and then in her communications with a number of the First Nations, she could be more educated on solid waste issues and converse with them at times. So I don't know how formal it has to be, and I just wanted to have that discussion at the committee and see what the committee's thoughts. We can make it as simple or as detailed as we want, but I just wanted to float out there and see if what the committee had in mind in terms of that, what their opinions were.
Okay, thank you. So, directors, comments, questions? I don't see anyone's hands up. Oh, Director Davis.
Yeah, I'm totally in favor of this. I think it would help everything to move along better if we have those levels of communication. So yeah, I'm in favor.
Okay. Anything? Oh, is that? Kevin, is that your hand up?
Ron.
I just put mine up, Charlie.
Okay. No, I can't see your picture, Ron. So all I see is all I see is a little circle with a half circle underneath it and a hand sticking up.
Does everybody else see my picture? No.
No.
Now we do when you're talking.
Now we do.
There you go.
Okay. I've been too quiet.
Yeah.
That's not normal.
No comment.
So, on the surface, I think, this certainly looks like it would be good for both agencies. I can't see anything. I think communication is important, and anytime we can keep lines of communication or develop lines of communication, you get away from that silo, people working in their own and not being part of the whole. I think on solid waste that it is a regional issue, and I think certainly in this instance it would make a lot of sense. Whether or not it got extended beyond waste management to other things, that's a whole different matter. But certainly on that one subject, it makes a lot of sense.
Okay. You looking for your hand, Claire? Or?
No, I was just checking, getting the agenda back up properly. No, I agree with my colleagues.
Okay, I can't see anybody else's hands up. My only concern is, what does our First Nations coordinator think of it? Is that a fair one, David, or are you speaking for her?
Yeah, I think I'll speak for her.
The reason that I ask is I see pros and cons because of her previous experience with Comox First Nation, and I think that's going to hold well with us. Would require not too much. It's not a whole new learning sphere other than just the solid waste issues.
Yeah, and I think we'll see how it goes. I think see what it can and may evolve into. But at this point, it was limited to solid waste, and I think it's a good trial balloon to see how that can work, because I think there's lots of synergies in there. So again, Russell was quite open to any costs associated with it. He was happy to pay for those.
Okay.
And so I said, well, let me chat with the committee first, and if they're supportive, we'll work something out that's make sure the costs are covered by the solid waste function.
Okay. Director Kerr, your hand's up.
Yeah, thank you, Charlie. Just a comment that, it's really great for that Tom's got the agenda up on the screen full time, but honestly, I've got it right beside me on another device, and I don't know if everybody else does too, that either if he minimized that, and that would allow the gallery of pictures to show up, make it a lot easier for you, or just didn't have it on there all the time. It would certainly allow other than just having that little strip of pictures down at the bottom. If, I mean, if there's a, I don't know, that's purely technical, but just a comment that it might make it easier for you and also for everybody to watch.
Let's wade through this one that we're on, and then keep that tucked in under your hat for item K, new business, right? And we can talk about it there if the committee would like to do that. So on receipt, anything further? Oh, is that Kevin's hand? No,
Tom's hands.
Yes, Mr. Yates.
Mr. Chairman, I apologize. It was really in response to to Director Kerr's idea. So I'd bide my time until you get into that discussion.
Okay, thank you. So, seeing nothing further on receipt, is there anyone in opposition? Seeing and hearing none, we'll call that motion carried. Item B, that the committee
I'll move the recommendation B.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion on the recommendation. Seeing none, I will call a question. All in favor, or anyone opposed? No opposition, so the motion carries. No correspondence, director's reports. Anybody got anything they wish to report back on? Hearing none, move into new business. Anyone with new business at all? Topics? Seeing none, Mr. Yates.
Mr. Chairman, I think this is probably my opportunity to perhaps give a different perspective on Director Kerr's concern about the agenda page.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reasons that we do this, and we do this for all committees and the board as well, is that it's really for as much for the public as for directors to be able to see what the board or the committee is talking about at any particular time. So they have that option to see what the staff recommendation is, for example, or what the nature of the topic is. Not to say that that's necessarily required to be in all cases, because with teams, each participant will have a slightly different view depending on their setup, their format, and who's been talking. And, it's constantly moving around different participants on the screen that each participant sees. So it's a really difficult thing to say everyone's going to have the same view at the same time in any given meeting. So, but as far as the agenda page, we are mindful of the public's need to see what's going on as well when we do that.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Director Kerr, any response?
Oh, that definitely makes total sense to me. I understand that. It just, from an operational point of view, for the chair, I understand, looking, I have chaired meetings, and it is difficult to keep an eye on everybody. But there are a lot of different options. I'm actually looking at an option right now that I just clicked on. I've never looked at before, and we're all sitting at the table, which is bizarre. With no social distancing, it's a very strange view of everybody. It's a together mode on my computer here, and we're sitting at some tropical resort, all grouped around the table. So there are different views.
Okay, you got to send that link out to us, Ron, so that we can all take a look at that. I don't know where that is.
If you look under more actions,
yeah, the 3
under
dots.
More actions.
Where's more actions?
Those 3 dots.
Oh,
the 3
dots.
Thank
3
you.
dots, and
Yeah.
then
I found it. Oh,
yeah,
and
we're all kind of.
Yeah, it's extraordinary.
Okay, I have us all sitting on some concrete steps.
Yeah, I got the same
concrete
one.
Steps.
It moves. Yeah, we're little people.
Oh, there we go. That's more in line with my space theme behind me.
Oh, I love it.
But look at how your hand disappears when you point it forward.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, this is hilarious. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Ah, I'm missing out here. I don't see this at all under the 3 dots. What's it called?
It's
It's
called,
not
Together
available. It's not available in TASIS, Martin.
it's called,
Yeah.
Martin, it's called the together mode.
Oh, yeah, it's not here. I don't know what's going
Void,
on.
we're prohibited by law.
Oh, well. Yeah, we don't
Prohibited
allow it
by
in
law.
TASIS, I
Yeah.
guess.
I don't have that either. It's Kevin
So-
here. It sounds
Yeah.
very interesting though.
Can I ask, am I changing the mode on my computer? It says you've changed the scene for everyone. Is everyone, am
Oh.
I controlling the scene or not?
No.
Maybe, but not anymore.
No.
Oh, okay. Thank
Yeah.
you. I don't want to. I just, okay.
So I think Director Kerr brings up a point. I mean, it's loosely tied to our committee function, but I find when the screen is on there, it fills the whole center section of my computer screen. And I deal with, right now, I am seeing the last 2 lines in the previous motion. And then I'm seeing items I, J, K, L, M, and N as well. And I think if there was a way to split the screen so that on one side you had the agenda item that was being dealt with, not the one whole page of agenda, which can stay up there much longer than what's required, but to actually have the agenda item on, say, half the screen or a quarter of the screen and the other 3/4 to be available for people's pictures or whatever have
So,
you.
Mr.
So,
Chairman, we can
Yeah.
look into that, but right now the function that I'm using is called share screen.
Yeah.
And it's basically an all or nothing. I can share it or not share it. I can't sort of share half my screen. Perhaps something that could be asked of IT to look into.
Yeah, I'd suggest that we go into the items if there's an item as well. I guess we generally do that, but that would be helpful.
when we move to the item itself.
Yeah, well, there's no items at the moment, but if there is, it's always nice to get into that as well. I'm assuming that's what we do in the meetings. I don't know. I'm the same as Ron. I have another screen here
There.
with the agenda on it.
So right now we're looking at H staff reports. Tom just scrolled that or down to that one. So
Mr. Chairman,
a item.
I can go to an item, and just for your information, if I click on the item on my shared screen, it will pull up that item, at least in theory. I don't know what. So for some reason it's cut off that page. I'll try refreshing and see what we get. There we go.
Yeah.
And then I can blow it up so that others can read it. Yeah. Appreciating that directors may have this in front of them or on a separate screen. That is their choice. So we can move to individual items where the committee has asked us to do that. Typically, we do not do that because it's back and forth. It can get pretty dizzying when you're going through quickly.
I think with our committee where we're dealing with small reports, small items, that would be very useful and also useful to the public. The public can then see what the item is and, some of the background information. So it may prove valuable from that perspective. The regular board meeting, when you get a report that's 20 or 30 pages long, even just maybe having the executive summary at the start would be of value. Anyway, we need to move along.
I have one more little item, very minor, sort of on this topic of procedural. I'm wondering whether it would be, it seems to me it would be fairly easy if the terms of reference for the committee would be attached or linked to every meeting. Because we had a conversation, 10 minutes ago about what our terms of reference say or don't say. And I tried to look online to find our terms of reference. I couldn't find it. So if there was a link on every one of our agendas, just so it's there in case we have to talk, about our terms of reference. I think that would be helpful.
Are the terms of reference not on our director's portal under
Yeah.
the First Nations relations, Mr.
I know,
Yates?
but can't go between this and that. It would be very simple if you
Okay.
just had it on here. We do that at other meetings. It just makes
Yep.
it so much easy, just right there.
Yep.
We can add that link, Mr. Chairman. That's not
Okay.
a huge issue.
Thank
Thanks.
you, Director Moglove.
You're welcome.
Yeah, good
Director
idea.
Davis?
I was just going to say I agree completely. It'd be good to have it right there because sometimes we struggle with this. I know I was with the Municipal Services Committee, and it's good to have that stuff handy because, you know, how many screens are we going to have here? You know, we don't want to have too much going on all at once, but if it's there, you can access it. That'd be great.
Yep. Okay. Well, thank you, Director Jules. You have any comment? Kevin?
Hey there. Hey, no, actually, I was just curious as to what you guys were all talking about earlier with the more actions thing, but I don't have that. I don't see it. And yeah, no, I agree with everyone here as well.
Okay, super.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Does Director Colburn show up?
I don't have her on the list. No.
Okay, so alrighty, so if there's no further new business, no addendum items, no closed session, everybody's favorite.
Move
Move
termination.
termination.
Oh, gee, is there anybody wanting to second that one?
I did, I guess.
Oh, okay. Well, I know, I was being facetious.
Okay.
That's a fancy word for silly.
Yeah, I need to see your image to get the inflection. So
Yeah.
because I'm not seeing anybody either. So
Okay. So on the motion, is there anyone opposed to termination? We'll call that motion carried. And thank you very much, everyone.